Aloha and welcome to Hope for Hawaii, a heartfelt podcast series. Created by Sarah, a stress expert with roots in Hawaii and residing on the ninth island of Las Vegas. Her deep connection to both places has woven a unique tapestry of inspiration, love, and support for our Hawaiian community.
Welcome to Hope for Hawaii. I'm your host and stress expert, Sarah. We are here to offer a guiding light through this dark time. Our podcast, Hope for Hawaii, is a heartfelt endeavor, born to inspire those affected by the Maui fires and anyone else navigating adversity. Through heartwarming stories, our storytellers will give practical tools, help nurture you, and help you create resilience and foster a strong sense of community. And for those who share the spirit of aloha. Enjoy Hope for Hawaii. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hope for Hawaii. During this really difficult time to rebuilding the state of Hawaii and everyone that's been affected by the devastating fires, we want to instill hope and resilience with bringing on some of our friends, mentors, coaches. And today I have a very special guest. I got to know this amazing woman at an in-person event, and her spirit is just beaming with light and love. And you'll be able to get that from her as well when she shares her stories with you. And so I want to introduce my friend, Mary Gooden. She is an international speaker. She is a best-selling author. She's the founder of Divine Destiny Mentoring and Publishing. She wants you to tell your story, and she helps you create it by her wonderful publishing company. She's the CEO of it as well. And she loves to just help you bring out all the brilliance that you have in your life. And she, oh my goodness, I wish you could be in person with her, but this is the next best thing. And Mary teaches her clients how to live their unique truth and to cultivate a joy-filled life and business. So everyone, welcome Mary Gooden.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It is such a delight to be in front of you again. And as you said, we don't always get to play in person, but when we do, it really is heartfelt smiles and just, knowing that you are surrounding yourself with the right people, the right vibration, those that came here to create lasting change and to share love open-heartedly. So what a gift it was for me to meet you and Rachel in Denver earlier this year. So thank you for reminding me.
Of course. Yes. And, so many things are about support. And, sometimes as entrepreneurs or business leaders or just people in general, whatever you do in life, a lot of times we take things on as our own and we put the burdens upon ourselves. And we don't ask for assistance or help or support, whether it be because we're shy, we're too proud, whatever we take on. And, we're here to say that ask for the assistance, ask for help. And when you connect to others, you create naturally the support around you that is right for you. So whether it be this podcast, other stories that you're listening to, we want you to keep having that hope. And, Mary, I know you've gone through some really turbulent times in your life and you've come out on the other side. I know you have a story to share with our audience here today. Why don't you go ahead and let us in on a little bit of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have a vulnerable part within us that we have lost something or a tragedy, if you will, that has affected us deeply, energetically, physically, mentally. And for me, it was really, it was almost 20 years ago, it feels like. But I was in a 25-year relationship with, I thought was my life partner. I thought we had created all these magnificent experiences together. We had two beautiful children. And lo and behold, the two things that I never thought about, one was getting divorced, and the second one was, just in all truth, was getting a cesarean section. And what I always say is I ended up with both. I ended up, after a 25-year relationship with my high school sweetheart, in the tragedy of divorce with two young children. I had just resigned from my corporate career. I had just really decided that I was going to step into a role of mother for really all of that, and everything shifted. That whole, it's like that whole home that we had built, just like a sandcastle. The water just came up and took it all away. And I will say that I spent many hours in those pity parties trying to rationalize, how am I going to raise these children? How did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And the one thing I didn't go for, which I believe highly and heavily, like you just said, Sarah, is so important, is community. To ask somebody for something I needed. I tried to do it all myself. I bottled up the anger. I bottled up the bitterness. It made me short-tempered, unkind sometimes to my children. That I let that tragedy embody me. I let that deep loss take over my life. And it's easy to do. This is part of what we've been made to do. Like, if you lose something, it's a tragedy, right? It's a deep tragedy, and we embody the frequency of that. And what happens is everything becomes a tragedy after, because we're just in this cycle of feeling bad for ourselves, feeling bad for others, feeling bad for the circumstances. And what it's doing, Sarah, as we already know, is it's dimming the light. And when a whole community, such as sending the hope and the light where we need to Hawaii, is they need our light right now. They need these stories. They need to know that we can come out and shine our light again. But it does become a challenge that sometimes when everybody's dim. And that's what it did. It dimmed my light. I couldn't be me. I couldn't share me. I wasn't happy. Nothing would turn over fast. For those that like to manifest or change their life, I couldn't change my life. I was stuck. I was stuck in a place of loss, deeply depressed about that state of loss. Again, because that's what we know. And parts of it, I almost felt that I had to be that, because that's what everybody did when they got divorced. And if I was to even have a glimpse of hope, or shine a heart of light, a piece of light, that people would shame and guilt me because I wasn't in the sorrow that they were in. And I imagine others that have had tragedy too, that we stay in our sorrow longer because of the guilt and shame of those that try to hold us there.
It's so common to do that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's always a big piece to share, that life happens. And no, I didn't overnight get to a place where, like, life happens, and it happened just for me. It took years. For some of it takes decades. Some people never leave the grief. Some people move to the next lifetime with it. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, I took responsibility for myself. And let me just reframe or help you understand my definition behind the word responsible. It's really just a deep commitment to paying attention to me and what I'm thinking. It's a deep commitment to paying attention to me and my energy body, and how I can find a glimpse of joy so I can share it with somebody who needs it. Responsibility is a deep commitment to paying attention to me and how I can help create a spark of joy in an experience that others need that light. And so it really, as much as I'm saying it, what helped me leave the tragedy and release the suffering and the grief was to pay attention to me and how just I could change it. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way to change the circumstances, is for me to change my thought around it, for me to change the way I speak of it, for me to change the way I act around it.
Wow. What an awareness. And sometimes we look so far out for the answers externally. Who's got the answer for me? And like you were saying about divorce, we look at other people and who are our role models in difficult times. And when you don't have a role model of, okay, this person got divorced, they went through their stuff, as you will, and then on the other side, it was, I'm responsible. I understand what my part was in the letting go of this relationship, and now I'm moving on, and now I can have a happier, healthier life, and create a different cycle. And good for you for going within yourself, finding that. And you were talking about dimming lights. And when you have no hope and when you have no light anywhere, it's difficult to find your way out of that hole. It's difficult to, even have the inspiration, let alone the tools to be able to get out of that space. So you talked about just that spark, and that spark for you sounded like it was joy. And I know you have, children, and I know you, help others with creating their life and their joy. So it's just an amazing thing that you find it within yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you start to move forward. Because yes, I mean, so many of us, when we've gone through tragic times, we don't want to get out of bed. We don't want the answers sometimes. And that's okay. Sometimes it's good to rest and to recuperate and to recharge. But then when you're ready, take that spark, take that little ounce of joy and move forward. So that's amazing, Mary. And I imagine there's so many people that can relate to that, whether it be divorce or any other kind of separation of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Separation of anything, really. Mm-hmm. It just brought me, most of the time, like you said, people are almost holding us hostage in the way that we should act, because what I would get a lot from my divorce is, how did you let that happen to you? But again, realizing that our only way out is in. Mm-hmm. And when you're ready, like you said, take the rest that you need, sleep it all, sleep some of the energy out, move your body a little bit too. It helps to just go out in nature. But at the end of the day, the only person that can change your circumstances and the way that you perceive them is you.
Absolutely. That's so true. And listening out there, take that in for a second. It's you, and not from a blame, not from a shame, just when you're ready, it's you. You have everything you need. Wayne Dyer says it. Lots of other people say it, right? It's within us. We created the eye care system, and the eye is go inside of yourself. You have the answers. And so it starts with us. It starts with our awareness. And I'm going to borrow from Mary. I've heard you say this, okay? Make it simple.
Yeah. You have.
Right? And simple, seriously imagining more positive life experiences, right? That's what it is.
It is.
And that's amazing. Mm-hmm. because it can be simple. We as humans, we complicate things whether or not we want to. Mm-hmm. But we add layers upon layers, and it creates a lot of stress, and it creates a lot of difficulty for us to move through life. And as I said through Mary, keep it simple.
Simple. And you're right. We've been taught at certain levels that we're always going to be seeking peace on earth. And I use this one wildly, because what are we always asking for? Most of us are always praying for peace on earth. But again, the peace on earth is you coming to your light. That the only way for you to create peace on earth is to find peace in your heart, become peace. Mm-hmm. And that begins the ripple effect, which is what we've learned with storytelling and being willing to get vulnerable and share. Yeah, that happened to me. And it's really fun when you can share, which is what publishing has created space for so many for, in writing stories and sharing story, is that write a story about your tragedy, write a story about the trauma, write a story about what you're going through. Because once you reread that story, once you speak that story out loud, it becomes automatic. It's a deep level of healing that happens, and it becomes automatic for you to want to find a way to use it as inspiration. because as you're writing it, as you're reading it, you're clearing it.
Yes.
And then the
Yes.
next step is to just simply say, it happened. And perhaps some of you will say, I wrote about it. And I realized just how someone else in my life needs to know that I made it through, that we made it through as a community, that we have created peace on earth.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's so powerful, Mary. It's so, so powerful. And, in Hawaiian culture, we have olelo, we have stories and songs and passing that along. And some of us chant, and there's different ways to express yourself and take that story and move it through your body and express it, whether it's, in a room by yourself or on paper, creating a book. One of the most exhilarating experiences of my life has been creating my book. And I didn't realize how cathartic it was going to be, number one. But, two, I created Stressed Out and Don't Know What to Do because I wanted to help more and more people, not just one-on-one, but more people to walk through life and get past their stressors and 2-minute techniques to help them through it. But what I realized is that the 20 years of experience that I had really cultivated through this book and out of me. And I ended up telling stories about myself and about my life. And it was just very soothing to get out and to express to the world and hopefully help more and more people to get through their challenges in life. And I know that you have your publishing company and you help people through that. Do you help people develop their stories as well to put it on paper?
Yeah, I support with all pieces and bits of writing stories, multi-author, solo, deep levels of healing and nourishment. Sarah, I'm just so grateful for all the hats of experience that I've been able to collect because of, and I just want to circle it all the way in, because of my initial tragedy of basically having a life of 38, 40 years completely removed and changed, and learning how to rebuild it from a place that didn't flow from resentment or bitterness, but actually was a joy-filled place. And so I'm able to I have experience in all of it. I used to beg for a mentor, like up in the sky, like, please send me someone that will show me the way. And I would hear the same thing from Creator God Source, like, I'm making you the mentor. And that will follow up with this last piece of something I shared just last week. It takes our voice to move the mountains. It takes our commitment and our willingness to speak up, to share what we know, to create the loving and lasting change, to hold a place of joy and love for everyone. But yeah,
Wow.
I can take you through the whole, we can go on a journey together that I can't even tell you. We'll have surprises along the way. We can publish books, we can heal lives, we can generate businesses from that. We can crack open the very deepest part of your mission and purpose and passion and share it with the world.
That's so well-rounded, Mary, and thank you for that, because sometimes when we're in that stuck place and don't have a lot of thought process around what are we going to do next and how are we going to rebuild and how are we going to make money and all of those different things, and maybe you're not ready to take on a coach, but you're ready to write down your story, and then the next step is to to start the healing process. And when you do, I mean, there's so many resources out there, and Mary is one of them, where you can share your story, or you can go on a retreat. Mary's doing several retreats this year, and I'm so excited for her. She lives in Sedona, very powerful place as well. I know you're traveling right now. You're in New Orleans and soon to be in Florida. And there's just, when we're able to think of different ways or experience different things to help lift us up and each other. Creating that support, as we talked about before, creating that community, again, it's just a powerful thing to be able to do. So I think that's a really great way to wrap that up. I love that you shared that, Mary. So where can everyone find you to connect to you?
Oh, the easiest way to find me is at www.marygooden.com. And there's all kinds of fun and free resources available for you there. But just as you said, Sarah, there's no need to extend any kind of monetary, just as a group, for those of you that are looking for a deeper level of hope and faith. Share your stories with one another. Suggest it to your community. Let's write about this tragedy. Let's just get in our heart and write about it for a few minutes, a short piece, and just notice how things will shift. Have faith that what has transpired in your life has actually happened to bring you closer to something or someone or to yourself. And receive that as the gift, that I learned more about myself because of this experience. And what a blessing that is.
Yes, very much so. And wow, that's a great way to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Mary. Oh my goodness. I'm glad you were able to share with everyone here, what you went through, but the other side of it. And please take advantage of Mary's free resources at marygooden.com. That is Mary, MaryGooden.com. And we'll put that in the notes as well. So Mary, thank you for being here. And everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of Hope for Hawaii, sharing hope and resilience to help rebuild our community and helping those out there that have been through a tragic situation and beyond. Thank you so much. I wanted to take a second to congratulate you for taking the time for yourself, to filling up your soul, your heart with hope, joy, and resilience during this tough time. This has been Hope for Hawaii. Help support our mission to help those that need a little bit of hope and resilience right now in their lives. So like, share, and comment on what has resonated with you and what do you want to see next. If you have a story yourself that you want to share with the world, please go to hope4hawaii.com and share your story. Maybe we'll have you on the podcast next.